Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, where every car is abandoned. We are here with my 1976 Camaro Rally Sport. If you're not familiar with this car, go check out my other videos because this has been an awesome story so far. This car was originally owned by my grandmother. She owned it from when it was new until around 1994 when it left the family, and we lost track of it ever since. It turned out this whole time this car was just a few blocks away from my house, and it had been sitting abandoned with the window down, partially reclaimed by nature. And I'm not just talking about YouTube clickbait abandoned, I mean actually abandoned and forgotten about for 30 years. Since then, we have done a lot of cleaning. We removed the interior entirely, and we tried to get this thing running. Now, I know when we watch these will we start videos, we all want that payoff. And you know, the reality is that sometimes in life, you don't get that immediate payoff. Sometimes in life, you have to work a little harder for things. Sometimes in life, you have to work a lot harder for things. And that was the case for this car. It did not start. Between a cross-threaded spark plug and a seized up starter, it was in a terrible place to do work. It just became apparent that the best solution for this was to get this car into the garage. So now it's time to get to work on this car. I have literally done nothing to it since we last saw it, and it's a mess in there. The only thing I've done with this car since I brought it in here, other than use it as a workbench, has been to try to kill off any life that's in this car. Now, I don't know how effective that was because when I was picking up this piece of plastic, there was a spider scurrying away, but I used several bug foggers at the end of every day when I was working on my abandoned Prelude. So I'm trying to kill off anything that is in here, but I suspect there will be more.
Life finds a way.
So we are underneath the enormous hood of this car, and what I want to do in this video is not really get it running, but I want to do a proper teardown because we're not going to get it running. I've given up on that for the time being. I want to start taking things out. I want to clean everything because, you know, in all of the crevices you see, there's still lots of leaves and rat shit. So in this video, I'm going to focus on probably removing body panels and removing some of these AC components so that I can get access to this cross-threaded spark plug. So we're going to get started taking things out that are very obviously broken, like that, and some things that are getting in the way of doing my repairs, like that. We're probably also going to take off the carburetor because that was just dumping fuel all over the place. That is doing us no favors. And there's also, you know, crap, you know, literal crap in the galleys underneath the carburetor, so that will free up that space as well. I'm going to be super grossed out, aren't they? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I got to get my vacuum. Alright. What's living back here? Ooh. Plenty. Let's just take the fender liner out. Yeah. I think that's a good move. Alright. This must be bolted in. No, it's not. There's a bolt here that I missed. Let's go ahead and pull that. There's just rat shit raining down. I'm not going to be spending any time under this car anytime soon. Wow, that's gross. That was a panel clip. Ooh, that was a lot. That was a lot. Pretty sure that's no good. So there's definitely a bolt somewhere that I don't see that is preventing this fender liner from coming out. Like I said, I just don't see it. So I'm just going to keep turning bolts until this stupid thing falls out. Hopefully I'm not underneath the car when that happens. There's a lot of stuff waiting to come down. That might do it. I believe that frees up the battery tray. Yes, it does. A little bit of violence though. It needs to turn upward like that. Perfect. You get any rat shit in my beard? How's it looking? I don't know about you, but I am choosing to celebrate these little victories. So for you guys experienced with the second gen Camaro, probably laughing at how inexperienced I am, but this is uncharted territory for me, and I'm actually excited. I mean, I'm horrified, but also excited. God damn, there's so much shit in there. We got some spider egg sacks, so this fender liner is definitely going outside. And we've got some more cleaning to do, but we freed up a lot of space to get at that stupid spark plug. So the next thing I want to take off here is this AC dryer. And it looks like a pretty straightforward setup. There's that, and then there's a screw here strapping it in place. We can swing this out of the way to get the clearance we need. It'll just go right back here. And then we should have proper access to that spark plug hole. With all of this space freed up, we might be able to get that spark plug thread chaser in there. Let's give it a try. The only problem I foresee right now is this little heat shield thing. This fucking HVAC thing. Can this come off? Just all of it entirely? So next up I want to remove the hood. The problem is that the hood weighs about 500 pounds, and if I have the hood fully open, when I undo these bolts, the hood is going to come flying off into the windshield and we'll break it. So I don't know exactly what to do here. These springs are like garage door springs. They're heavy duty, man. But I'm going to loosen these bolts slowly, little by little, and we'll see what happens from there. Obviously, I'm rolling camera because something stupid is bound to happen. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to happen. Okay. There's now nothing holding the hood on, so we should be able to move it off of the car. Get it away from the glass. Tip. Oh, that's heavy. Oh. So the next challenge with this spark plug is actually this little heat shield here. See, it kind of gets in the way, and because of this heat shield, I can't hold the thread chaser and guide it in properly. I need to be able to put pressure on it and twist it, and that thing gets in the way. And I don't have a solution for that. I have a socket extension, but I don't have the kind of control I need to even get the thread started. It interferes all the way in. And I talked to my friend Alan, the Camaro guru, and he confirmed that is most likely the case, that it is most likely riveted in place. So what it comes down to is I don't want it that badly. I would rather do a complete teardown of this motor and replace the heads than chase that spark plug thread. Because it's not that important to me just to hear this motor run for a few seconds. It's just not. I want to tear this whole thing down. I want to get it cleaned up. I want to do a really good job on it. So we're going to continue with our teardown, and we're going to move on to this HVAC box. This thing is enormous. It's in the way of lots of things. I am also going to take the fender off because I have a suspicion that there are some fasteners that I can't get to with the fender on. I also just want to take the fender off for cleaning purposes. I mean, that's terrible. Well, if you guys want to know why I did not pressure wash the engine compartment before taking it apart, that's why. And that's why. This stuff would not have come out of the engine compartment from a pressure wash. It was underneath the fender, and it was completely blocked by the fender. It would have only gotten wet. It would have probably smelled really bad and could possibly have made me sick. So we're just gonna keep tearing this down and keep cleaning this up as we go. And eventually, this car will be less terrible to work on. It may even be enjoyable at some point. The discovery process is really slow. I'm just kind of poking things, taking things off, and just trying to figure it out as I go. I mean, obviously, I don't know much about the car. I'm learning as I go. So I am bagging and tagging everything and just very slowly working my way through it. As far as this HVAC box goes, it looks like there's a couple or more fasteners that hold this thing on from the inside. I'm not ready to go inside the car yet. I need to be prepared for that. So we're going to continue tearing down the nose cone because I've already kind of figured out how the passenger side goes. I can apply what I've learned to the driver's side. So that means we could go ahead and do a time lapse. I will roll camera as I'm working, and you can watch me flail around like an idiot. So before we get started with the time lapse, the music that we are using for this time lapse is dedicated to user Luis Batista 1103, saying, "Please refrain from using that awful music for background. Please." Luis, this one's for you. So as you can see, I struggled a little bit towards the end, and there were two things that really screwed me up. One of them being this bolt down here, and that's because this bracket is damaged. Obviously, we already know that this fender was replaced, and we're going to take a look at that fender in just a second. But this had to have been from that same activity that caused the damage to the original fender. The other thing that screwed me up was... I'm getting eaten by flies. The other thing that screwed me up was this here. The bracket just started spinning, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't get at it from any direction, and so it ended up just breaking out. So that really kind of sucks, because this appears to be fiberglass, and there's basically no repairing that. But on the bright side, there's 3 other bolts holding this thing up here. It's a little excessive, so there's still 10 pounds of hardware holding that together. So I'm not terribly worried about that. Let's take a look at that fender. And my God, the original color of this fender is very, very 70s. That is green as green gets. And I suspect that given the headlight housing is also green, that these came together as one piece, and that's what made putting this all together or taking this apart so difficult, because it was probably put together not dealer recommended procedures. Let's assume that. So now that both fenders are off, I can get really close to the engine, and it's kind of like working on it on a stand. I mean, everything is right there. So this is really, really great. I can get a lot of progress with this teardown done. I can get a lot of things cleaned out, and I've already gotten a whole lot of things cleaned out. I want to continue with the nose cone, though. I want to get this front grille off. I want to get the bumper off. I want to get this, whatever it's called, front lower spoiler, valence. I'm not sure what the terminology is. I want to get this piece of fiberglass off, and that'll just free up the entire front end for mechanical work, because I'm pretty sure everything is bad, given the state of everything we've encountered so far. Well, this is about as torn down as I care to be with the front end of this car. So I got all of the important stuff out, like the radiator and the AC condenser, and I got everything out of the way. So obviously we are going to clean these parts, but we don't have to do it right this minute. In fact, we're probably going to clean everything together on the same day. But here's what I want to do with this engine. So now that I have everything exposed, it's nice and easy to get to. This is a little bit of an annoyance, but since it won't come off right now, I'm not going to sweat it. With the engine, we're going to start to tear down the water pump. We're going to take the alternator off. And really what we're trying to do is to get at all of these little, nooks and crannies, all of these little hard to reach spots that there is currently rat shit. So we want to expose all of that. We're going to vacuum it all out. And then once we get this to a certain point, I want to get all of the wiring out of the way. And once we get this to a certain point, we're going to use our winch to roll this car back out to the driveway. And then we're going to do a proper degrease with the pressure washer and all this stuff that you guys want to see. So we will be doing a pressure wash. We will be degreasing this, and we're going to get this looking really, really good. But I want to tear some more things down, and I want to remove as much of the crap as I can before doing that. And then once that's all done, I have options. I can do some work on the interior. I can do some work on the rear. If I really want to, I could drop this K-member because, these bushings are no good. They have to be replaced anyway. There's a whole lot of things I could do, but I don't know which direction I want to go quite at this moment.
Hold me down all the time with tied up hands and broken bones. You give me pain all the time with empty heart and drain out veins. You give me life mouth to mouth with plenty of cash and many wounds. You leave me alone all the time. The cold blood call at night. You get the spiral in your mind. You feel the symptoms come again. You think it's over in your head. You should be, you love me. You're satisfied until you get me on the run. You should be, you love me. Is that right? Now you have me.
Well, it's raining again. I guess Los Angeles is the new Seattle. The only indication that we have that we're actually in Los Angeles is the Mexican screaming parrots up in the trees. And we are finally at a good point with this Camaro where we can give you the pressure wash that you have been asking for since day one. So I've got it torn down pretty well. I'm probably going to stab the distributor back in just to keep things a little bit watertight. I got to put a little bit of tape over the intake opening for the carburetor, but we're ready to go. I put that cork back in where the spark plug is supposed to go, but won't go. And everything else, we're just going to say screw it. I don't care about the exhaust. The exhaust is all rusted out, I'm sure. Anyway, I'm sure this motor is just completely hosed. So this is really academic at this point. Really, all I care about doing right now is just sanitizing it, I want to be able to touch it without being grossed out. That's really all that I'm hoping to accomplish here. So let's begin the heroic task of pushing this car off to the left over here, and then we can hook it up to the winch and push it out to the driveway. All I need to do is get the nose of this car out of this garage. So once I get the nose out into the driveway, I could chalk the tires, and I'll just leave the winch there for extra safety and probably trip on the cable.
Cover eyes and cover mouth, I hold you down all the time. With tied up hands and broken bones, I give you pain all the time. You cry aloud, you feel alright. You're screaming down with an open mouth. Is this the end? Was this thought out?
So I wouldn't call this all cleaned up because obviously there is still a lot of grease that is caked onto the motor, but for an initial effort for reducing the ick factor, dude, mission accomplished. I mean, there's actually some white under here. This is such an improvement over what it was before. Obviously it still has a long way to go, but I could pressure wash this thing for a year and still not get it great. The actual solution here is going to be to take things out one by one, clean parts and replace parts. And while I was doing the pressure wash, I shoved the pressure washer inside the thermostat because it's really gross in there. And water came blasting out of here. So there is a hole in the thermostat housing, and that bodes well for the rest of the motor. And by that I mean the motor's probably ruined. There's probably a whole bunch of corrosion in there. You can see I didn't exactly get every inch of the leaves and ratchet, but I got the majority of it. It is now at a point where I can remove the engine and not be totally grossed out and or covered in fecal matter. And we all love not being covered in fecal matter. Well, most of us anyway. I certainly love not being covered in fecal matter. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video. We made a whole lot of progress. I'm sorry it took so long to get this video out to you guys. I was making rapid progress with this car, but everything came to a dead stop while I was waiting for my electrician to work on the garage. And what it came down to was we had a conversation. I had to tell him, look, if we both do our jobs during job doing hours, we will never have a conflict in the garage. And so it is now the weekend, and that's why I was able to get this done. And I am so happy that things are finally moving forward, not just with this car, but with my garage and with all of my other projects. And now I can call this phase of it done. The next step is going to be to remove the engine so that we can get it down to the machine shop and confirm our suspicions that all of this is ruined, because I'm pretty sure it's ruined. So thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't like what you see, maybe you hate my taste in music, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.